At 99 years old, he is still dancing, still moving, still filling rooms with warmth simply by existing. In a world that has long moved past the people and genres that defined him, he remains present, vibrant, and alive. Yet the man everyone sees on screen and in photographs is only a fraction of the person who lived this life. Behind the charm, the effortless smiles, and the laughter that reached millions, there was a boy shaped by silence, distance, and unspoken longing, whose journey toward recognition was measured in years of struggle, patience, and unyielding determination. A childhood of quiet longing. Born in December 1925 in West Plains, Missouri, he grew up in a small town that seemed to offer little to hold on to and less to dream about. His father, a charming and restless traveling salesman, was often absent, while his mother provided quiet stability without much warmth. Alongside his younger brother, he navigated a household that functioned well enough, yet lacked sustained affection. It was not cruelty that shaped him, but the absence of attention, a persistent quiet that left him feeling invisible. From the start, he learned that attention could be earned through performance, using humor to be seen and understood. Discovering the stage. From an early age, performance became a sanctuary. At just 11, he studied the films of Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, absorbing their timing, physicality, and subtle artistry. He understood instinctively that comedy was architecture, meticulously built, precise, and patient. Making people laugh was not about applause. It was about being recognized in a world that often ignored him. These early experiments in mimicry, exaggerated gestures, and perfectly timed jokes were not mere play. They were the building blocks of a craft that would carry him through a lifetime of challenges, setbacks, and eventual triumphs. The war years. At 18, he was drafted into the United States Army Air Forces during the height of World War II. Hoping to become a pilot, he was grounded due to physical requirements, instead serving as a radio operator and entertainer for the troops. These years taught him the vital importance of laughter. Amid fear and uncertainty, performance became essential, a lifeline for both performer and audience. He returned home in 1946 without money, connections, or formal training, but with an unshakable certainty. His place was on the stage, in front of an audience, shaping joy in a way no classroom or military assignment could ever teach. Early struggles in entertainment. The post-war years were marked by relentless effort and repeated rejection. He tried radio announcing in Atlanta, Georgia, only to be dismissed, and formed a small comedy duo called the Merry Mutes, performing in clubs and on Air Force bases. Success was slow, intermittent, and often invisible. The industry he had dreamed of belonged to those with connections, timing, or luck he did not yet possess. Yet he persisted, guided by stubborn conviction and love for the craft. Every misstep, every closed door, only strengthened his resolve, shaping a performer capable of carrying the weight of both comedy and humanity. Marriage and personal turmoil. In the midst of professional uncertainty, he married Margie, a partnership that lasted 36 years. Their marriage, like many aspects of his life, bore the weight of his struggles. Years of delayed recognition, addiction, and relentless work took a toll. By the time they divorced in 1984, they had grown apart, not in anger or dramatic conflict, but because life had moved them in different directions. He later described the separation with fairness, acknowledging that what had been broken could not be repaired, and that stopping the effort was sometimes the kindest choice for everyone involved. Addiction and recovery, success brought unexpected challenges, including a battle with addiction that threatened to erase years of effort. It consumed him privately, testing his resilience and forcing him to confront the fragility of his achievements. Recovery was neither quick nor easy, yet it marked a turning point. By committing to sobriety, he slowly rebuilt himself, demonstrating that personal renewal is possible even after decades of struggle. His journey was not defined by the awards he earned or the fame he attained, but by the quiet determination to reclaim a life that had been nearly lost to excess error, and unaddressed pain. Career highlights and cultural impact. Despite obstacles, his talent eventually broke through. He danced across screens in beloved films, brought laughter into millions of households, and became a symbol of warmth and joy. Shows and movies remain studied today, not for technical perfection, but for the rare ability to combine physical comedy, verbal precision, and genuine human warmth. His influence extends across generations. Children introduced to his work by their parents now share it with their own. Success was not merely in accolades, but in the enduring impact of performances that communicated authenticity, generosity, and a deeply human presence. Resilience in later life. By his late 50s, he had experienced both the pinnacle of television success and the aftermath of its pressures. His career was a series of intermittent projects rather than continuous cultural dominance. Yet even then, he embodied resilience, the capacity to rebuild, to find meaning after loss, and to continue creating joy despite setbacks became a defining feature of his life. He demonstrated that reinvention is not reserved for the young, and that the true measure of a performer lies not in flawless execution, but in the ability to give fully, vulnerably, and consistently to the audience, regardless of circumstance. Love and renewal in old age. Remarkably, at 86, he discovered love that had eluded him for decades. This late-life relationship became a defining joy, the missing element in a story otherwise filled with accomplishment, struggle, and personal growth. It highlighted a truth about human resilience, that life's deepest gifts often arrive unexpectedly, and that the capacity for love and connection does not expire with age. Even after a lifetime of challenges, he embraced this new chapter with openness, proving that fulfillment and happiness are practices cultivated across an entire lifetime, not merely milestones to be reached. The legacy of authentic joy. What sets him apart is not simply talent or accolades, but authenticity. His performances endure because they contained his full self, flaws, struggles, and all. Audiences connected not with a polished mask, but with a real human presence. A performer who acknowledged imperfection while continuing to give generously. The legacy he leaves is measured not only in awards or box office records, but in the emotional resonance of his work. His life reminds us that the deepest art comes from recognition, not avoidance of the self, and that generosity of spirit can make a lasting impact beyond the stage. The practice of joy. Joy was never a reward for his achievements. It was the practice that shaped them. From the earliest performances to the late years beside the ocean, he committed daily to making spaces warmer, regardless of recognition, applause, or audience readiness. He demonstrated that joy is a conscious choice, a dedication, and a kind of craft as demanding as any physical performance. In continuing to move, dance, and engage fully with life at 99, he embodies the principle that creating joy for oneself and for others is an ongoing, imperfect, yet profoundly meaningful pursuit. Conclusion: a life fully lived. He is still here, still dancing, and still giving. A living testament to resilience, authenticity, and the enduring power of performance. His story spans small-town beginnings, wartime service, decades of professional struggle, personal hardship, and ultimate renewal. It is a reminder that success is neither linear nor simple, that love and joy can emerge late, and that the measure of a life lies in the capacity to persist, rebuild, and give fully to the world. At 99, with a life behind him more extraordinary than many could imagine, he remains a model of courage, generosity, and unfaltering dedication to the practice of joy.